Hello everyone, I am Gabriel and this is the Rise Atlantis show. Hallelujah. Today we're talking about a very weird story. This is indeed prophecy alert. As you can see, I also colored my hair again today. I had it just a regular what's that called, where they where you get it to go before you add the color. I forgot what that's called. You add the, not the dye, that's what the color is. You add the, what's that called, where it causes it to, the bleach, where you add the bleach. Before I had the bleach for a little bit. Now I added blue, so you can see if I could get a flashlight here to show you how it looks. And the way I do it's very cool. I put get like a long paper towels, and then you spread it long and then fold it in pieces and then tie it behind your head like a bandana. And once you have it on your head, you do this the same with the bleach also. You put your bangs over, and then you with the comb, not really a comb, but like the little like the small little brush combs, like those small little black ones, you know. And you just keep applying it on, and then once you have it there, the way I do is I apply it on one side, then apply it the other side, and I have it spread out like that. Then you let it go, you let it sit for an hour, you let the bleach sit for an hour, and you let the color sit for an hour. Once you have that, you have the color on the hair. Now, I really don't like red. I only wear red like when it's by Halloween or something. I mean, I'm wearing a red shirt because it's Friday, you know. It's a different shirt every day of the week. But like I noticed, yellow, that looks basically like the bleach, you know. What other colors are there? Green and blue. Well, when you add the blue, it turns into like a green anyway. So I still want to find, because I have one. It's called like midnight blue, you know. And it's like a very strong dark blue, but yet for some reason it still comes out green. So gotta figure out a way to where I can find it to where it makes it more bluer. Because as you can see here, it looks a little green. I don't mind the color green. It looks nice. I want to find a way to get it more blue though. Get it more blue. I don't know why. I mean, this one I have is like midnight blue, is like a very dark blue. It should have it to where it comes out blue. Now, I don't mind green. One time I dyed my whole hair like that, and I didn't know blue would turn into green. And I ended up eventually cutting it. And but that's why I only paint the bangs now, because the whole hair, I don't know, it just looks too much. And like this with the bangs, it looks nice, you know, it causes that flare. The whole hair, I don't know, in my opinion, is a bit too much. It's overkill, you know. So, yeah, it looks very nice, you know. I mean, it looks better than boring the way I see it, regular. You know, it looks nice, you know, and I'm happy with it, you know. So, I mean, it's a really nice color, even though it's a green, you know. I like it because the top parts of it is yellow. I'm not sure if you can see the yellow. Let me go ahead and bring the flashlight back. See if you can notice the yellow here. If I back up the light, you can barely see it on here. But there's like bits of yellow on the top. And that's nice because it adds like an Aurea Borealis look, you know. And it is very, very nice, the Aurea Borealis look. So, yeah. The best way I like combing my hair is like this, and just with the fingers in down. I noticed that the show Stranger Things, when they were talking about, you know, fixing your hair and stuff like that, I forgot who played him or what was his name. Joe Keery is his real name. I forgot the name he played on Stranger Things. But he said a very good tip on that show. He said the way to do it, to have your hair perfect, is to lightly dampen it, lightly wet it a little bit. But not too much, because too much it just looks like it has to be damp, you know. And that's true, you know. They offer good advice on how to have our hair looking at its best. I'm plugging in. Oh my god. I'm plugging in the charger to the laptop because it's about to die and I forgot to plug it in. So, get it plugged in real quick. So yeah, they mentioned a very good tip for the hair to have your hair looking nice is don't water it down too much. When you wet it down, spray bottles is perfect with water, you know. I really don't like gel or spray, hardening spray, because it messes up the color. It starts to make it fade faster, and two, it weakens your hair over time, you know. So I really don't use hardening hair products, you know. So the best way to do it is to have it a little damp. That's the trick. So now we'll go ahead and get into the first news story of the day. First news story of the day. Let me see here. Okay. There's prayer on a regular basis in the White House, Mike Pence said on religious freedom and praying for Jerusalem. Next story. Change your morning routine. Study links orange juice. Can you believe this? Orange juice to deadly skin cancer. Now I'm guessing this is if you overdo drinking orange juice. Let's see here. Orange juice can increase your risk of developing melanoma, skin cancer. The deadliest type of skin cancer that kills more than 9,000 Americans each year. Almost as bad as being fried up in the sun every day. And I'm in the sun every day. I don't like putting the sunblock cream. I don't like putting the sunscreen on because the oils in it makes me break out and cause pimples. So I just stay in the shade. Of course, I drive all day, you know, but I have my face out of the sunlight, even though I'm still driving in the daytime. So that's the way I do it. My driving arm, I used to always leave it on the window, but I'm not sure if you can really tell here, but my left arm is a little bit darker than my right arm. See this? You can kind of see it right here. My left arm's a little darker than my right arm. So now what I do when I'm driving is instead of having my driving arm, my left arm on the window, getting the UV rays and more skin cancer, if I keep doing that my whole life, I'm going to have to amputate my arm, you know, skin cancer. So it's really bad. So what I do now is I have, like, on the side, I have my arm up like that, you know, and just hanging like that, you know, and away from the window. Like, say I'm driving, right? Here's the window. I have my arm, like, towards a little bit more towards the back and just, like, you know, away from the sunlight, you know. And now I'm trying to let this arm get more tanned with the sun. And I don't put suntan cream also because that makes me get sunburned, you know. So that's how I'm starting to do it now, you know. And try to get a full body tan. It's hard, you know, because we're not really out in the sun all day long. And when we do try to get a suntan, we end up getting sunburn, you know, so it's horrible. The best way to get a natural suntan is a little bit over time. You can't overdo it. You can't get it overnight, you know. And don't overdo these creams, these suntan creams. I didn't know that leaving it on your body, not showering, washing it off, and leaving the sun tan cream without the sun, what is it called? Sunless tanning cream. I didn't know that you're supposed to wash it off the next day, and I had to go for like 2-3 days straight, thinking it would cause more sun tanning. But I noticed it was causing blotches in my skin, so I didn't know that. And I wish they would have put a warning on it. So that be advice to people out there is if you put those sun tanning creams, you have to wash it off the next day. And don't get the strongest ones because they make your skin blotch up. You gotta get the, I'd say a little bit less than medium is the best one I recommend. So don't go for the heavy duty ones. They're not good. They make your skin get little blotches, you know, that's not good. So, they're saying orange juice is causing melanoma skin cancer. Now, I'm guessing this is if people drink way too much. It said clinical oncology looked at more than 100,000 people for over 25 years, factoring in lifestyle, other dietary factors. Researchers discovered people who drank 2 servings a day of citrus juice has a higher rate of melanoma than those who drink less than 2 servings a week. So, 2 glasses of orange juice causes melanoma. Can you believe it? 2 glasses of orange juice. Well, I wonder if the powder juice, like the Kool-Aid brand, they have a orange flavor. I wonder if that's a safe alternative. I will look into that. Because that's what I've been drinking lately, because it gets expensive buying the actual orange juice. It runs out too quick. The powder lasts way longer. So, I'm guessing going with the powder orange juice is the best way. Okay, let's see here. They also said study revealed grapefruit juice showed the most apparent association with melanoma. So grapefruit, they're saying, is worse than orange juice. Can you believe it? Now it's weird because they say grapes have a lot of phytonutrients, antioxidants, which is good for your health. So that's what, is it something in the juices? Is it like a certain pasteurization or something? Is it a certain a preservative? What is it? This is strange here. Doctors recommend eating whole fruit instead of the juices. Adding that the fruits lowest in sugars are berries. So this is weird stuff indeed. So I don't know. Maybe drinking the powder versions is maybe better. Who would have thought Kool-Aid would have been more healthier to you than orange juice and grape juice? That is strange. I'm guessing it's some kind of chemical in it. Because I wonder if drinking the actual fruit, eating the actual fruit is bad as well. Weird stuff, I'm telling you. Acosta de Sanders, were you lying or in the dark in regards to her knowing about Cohen's payments to Stormy Daniels? So, you know, this is big news. They're saying that Trump had his lawyer pay off the Stormy Daniels with Cohen, which is Trump's lawyer. He sold his house and used his equity line to pay Stormy Daniels. So did Trump use donation funds from his election? I hope not, because if he did, that's going to be very bad news. So like I say, every time on this show, I never say I'm in favor of Democrat or Republican, you know. I don't choose sides on political parties, so we'll leave it at that. Detroit radio station host pulls Kanye West's songs saying they've had enough. I'm glad, you know. Because, you know, what he said was very offensive to black people slaves. Coming from a black person. I can't believe Kanye West. You know? He makes it sound like, I mean, yeah, they were slaves for 400 years, but he makes it sound like, oh, they could have just left and done something else and built their own house. No, they couldn't have. They couldn't get a job anywhere else because they were forced to be slaves at that time. And they couldn't move and get their own place. They couldn't buy their own land because they were slaves. So Kanye West is making it sound like, oh, well, they would have just stood up and started a revolution and would have stopped it. Which indeed it would, but it would have been probably hard almost impossible to have started a revolution at that time. It was people like Lincoln that freed the slaves. So, you know, it's people like Lincoln we have to thank, not people like Kanye West. You know, Kanye West. He's a wacko, man. He's running his mouth off. He has foot and mouth disease. Man, that's funny. Foot and mouth disease. So, next story is House Chaplain Pat Conroy rescinds his resignation to sit down with Paul Ryan next week. So first he was going to resign, and now he's saying he wants to stay. Just because he wants to sit down with Paul Ryan next week? This is weird. So after that he's going to step down? Next story. Jay-Z ordered to appear in court after ignoring SEC subpoenas. SEC subpoenas. So what is SEC? Man, I mean, we've already heard of the rapper Jay-Z being in trouble. I think he was in trouble with taxes one time. DMX, man. Let's pray for DMX. He's always getting in trouble, man. This time, facing a bid. Is it a five-year bid or something like that on taxes? Yeah. So, let's see here. Federal judge has ordered Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, to explain why he shouldn't have to testify in an SEC probe into Iconics, the company that now owns the Rockaware clothing. So this is big. Jay-Z tries to act like he owns Rockaware, but really it's this brand called Iconics that owns it. So, Iconics owns Jay-Z. Jay-Z is just a spokesperson for Rockaware. All this time we thought he was the owner. Man. Iconics was the one that funded Rockaware and fitted the bill. And they just had Jay-Z as a spokesperson. I had no idea. Oh, okay. Iconics now owns Rockaware. So Jay-Z used to own it at one point. But I guess he couldn't afford it and handed it to them. He sold it to them. So let's see here. It's crazy. Carter must appear in the Manhattan courtroom on May 8th to make his case according to a court document made public. Let's see here. Carter ignored 2 subpoenas requesting his testimony. The agency is focused on Iconics, a brand management that owns labels, including Candies, London Fog, and Rampage. Now, I've heard of Candies, I haven't heard of London Fog and Rampage. It must be some kind of London thing, you know? Oh, man. After all, it does say London, right? Let's see here. Carter and business partner Dame Dash. Now, Damon Dash, he had owned part of Rockaware. I believe Rockaware was no, it was Rockefeller. It was a music label. Rockaware was a clothing line. Damon Dash, you know, his wife Stacey Dash came on the movie Clueless, and she's been getting big into politics. So, for all we know, she might run for president someday. Let's see here. I heard she's thinking of doing an end to politics, but not sure about that. Oh man, it seems I haven't drank a sip of water all day. Oh man, I am dehydrated. I'm telling you. I didn't even drink my Powerade today. Okay, let's see here. So they're saying that Jay-Z and Damon Dash sold their rights to the urban apparel line Rockaware to Iconics in 2007. Get this. They sold it for $204 million. Now it's no longer called Rockaware anymore, it's called Iconics. So that's weird. The SEC says Carter and Iconics maintain publicly disclose partnerships related to the Rocawear Brown after the sale. So that's illegal to do, to still be partnered up once they sell to a company. They're saying that's illegal. You know, and they called it violations. So, could they give Jay-Z some prison time? This is crazy. They might just sue him, take back some of that $200 million. See? How it could be easy come, easy go? That's why you have to do things right. Why didn't his account manager, why doesn't an accountant tell him this, you know? Seems an accountant is probably asleep at the wheel here, you know? But it doesn't land on the accountant, it lands on the person as well, you know, so. Jay-Z, was he too busy touring that he didn't notice this? Hopefully he doesn't lose too much money here. March 2016, Iconics publicly announced a $169 million write-down on Rocawear. And then a further write-down of $34 million, the statement adds. So now Jay-Z is worth $810 million, according to Forbes. So he still has a lot of money. Almost $1 billion, man. So this is pocket change to him. Even if he loses $200 million, he's still got like, what, $600 million? That's crazy stuff, man. How does the saying go? The bigger the bill, the worse the thrill, or something like that? I don't know. More money, more problems, basically. Let's see here. Longtime NFL columnist Peter King leaves Sports Illustrated for NBC Sports. Why would he leave Sports Illustrated? That's a very good magazine, man. NBC Sports? I hate to say it, but isn't as great as Sports Illustrated? That's like the pinnacle of sports, man. Maybe he got tired, he wanted to get more in the news aspect, you know, so maybe it's moving up towards the mainstream TV news. I agree with that. Boy collapsed and died at soccer practice. Look at this. A pair of West Virginia parents cope with the sudden death of their 8-year-old son, Caleb, who collapsed and died at a youth soccer practice. 8 years old. No matter how young you are, you could die of a heart attack. Especially if you're younger. If you're 4 years old and running around too much, hopped up on sugar, and you work your heart up too much, you could get a heart attack, you know? So that's something parents need to control their kids, not to have them too hyper, especially when it comes to sports. You can't be like a machine and just keep going non-stop, man. You have to pace yourself out. So that's sad. It's sad when children die of heart attacks by overworking their hearts. And they're not even overweight, man, you know? It's sad. Next story. Caravan organizers said 158 migrants have crossed into the United States to seek asylum. Now, this is not good, man. They're supposed to be on a waiting list, not just barge in, you know, so I don't agree with that. And last story. White House to ask Congress to cut spending by $11 billion. I feel like Dr. Evil. $11 billion. So it's like, man, they're going to have to cut spending by $11 billion. So that means they've been spending $11 billion. Now, I believe it's every year. I'm not sure. It doesn't say what Trump has been spending his last year of presidency. Let's see here. In a significant scale back of the initial plans, some of which included upward of $60 billion in cuts. Wow. Senior congressional Republicans deemed untenable. Package doesn't include the 1.3 trillion omnibus at all. 1.3 trillion. Now, what's the debt at? I'm not sure if the debt contributes to inflation. I think it does, so it's madness, truly madness. There's too much money being spent. And don't you just hate how so much money is being spent in every presidential election? It shouldn't have to cost an arm and a leg for people to run for president. They really need to bring the spending to a minimum. Really bring it down, man. Because the rich shouldn't rule everything, That goes for both parties. So now we'll go ahead and get into the topic of the day. Because there's a lot of Democrats that are rich as well. And I hate to say it, but I see politics as this. I never endorse any political party. I stay neutral on it. Because with Democrats, you have the tax and spend. Pork barrel spending, they call it. And then a lot of them are in for pro-choice and all that. And maybe even getting into legalizing human cloning for the false sense of eternal life. That's the bad part of Democrats. Bad part of Republicans, a lot of them are too greed. They say yes, tax cuts for the rich, but it should go to only the CEOs hiring more people. Not for them to be, using loopholes and making trillions every year, lavish trips around the world with the most expensive yachts and cars and all, mansions, So we have the Democrat tax and spend and towards evil sciences. You have that going with Democrats. You have Republicans, they're too greed. So both political parties need to fix their structures, That's my take on it. Now, we'll go ahead and get into the topic of the day. This is a big one right here. Oh yes, this is a big one. It seems, I don't even think I mentioned the topic of the day at the beginning. But it's in the video description at the top, so let's preview. This is big though. Scientists, I believe in America, let me pull up the story. They created the world's first artificial embryo. World's first artificial embryo. Now this is going to open the door into creating artificial womb creators. So this is big stuff. Big stuff indeed. Okay, so let's see. I believe it was in America. Let me check. This is big. Okay, I think I actually was in England. United Kingdom. Scientists create the world's first embryo from stem cells without eggs or fertilizers in provocative research. 2 different kinds of stem cells were combined and grew into an early embryo. This could create an unlimited supply of identical embryos for medical research, including human cloning. Embryos failing to properly implant into the womb is the leading cause of infertility. Embryos failing to properly implant into the womb is the leading cause of infertility. Critics argue the technique may lead to cloning. Yes, it will, which is totally forbidden. Now with animals, they've been doing it for so long. There's no ban on animal cloning. Critics argue the technique will lead to human cloning. Yep. Scientists say it's a relief. The technology will not work in humans for decades. So this technology isn't for human cloning yet, but it is coming soon. Scientists have made a major step forward to creating life in the laboratory without using fertilizers or eggs. 2 different kinds of stem cells were combined in a petri dish, and they grew into an early form of an embryo. Creating the stem cells created a limited supply of identical embryos, which would be useful for medical research. Man. Will also be useful for testing the effects of new medical treatments. So, this is crazy stuff indeed, man. Now get this. Researchers say the technique carried out in mice could result in a mouse being created without using fertilizers or eggs within 3 years. So, could lead to human cloning? Yes, it will. Decades before technique will be used in humans. Let's see here. They said a viable mouse embryo could be created as soon as 3 years. But a human embryo could take decades. I don't know. With the way science is evolving, it's going to happen like that, man. The use for the embryo would be drug tested and research into infertility. And to create medicine out of it. They said they do not believe in using blastocysts for human reproduction. This is ethically very questionable. This would be clones of somebody who is already alive. So, it's all leading to human cloning, man. It's at what point is it going to evolve fast enough to where we see it? Not just in our lifetime, but in a few years. You know, it's a big story, man. I'm telling you. They created the world's first artificial embryo. How weird is this? It's all becoming synthetic now. It's all becoming molds of plastic. You know, as an expression. It's all becoming synthetic. Synthetic life is what it's all coming to. You know. And pretty soon we'll have cookie cutter clones lining up in the assembly line. We all know that's where the future's headed to. So let's see here, what else they say. You know, it seems we have these trickles of talk of human cloning, but it never gets mainstream coverage like it should. You know? So it's pretty crazy. You know? If you don't know what a clone means, it's a copy of a person. So pretty soon we'll have this. Carbon copies of people. Xeroxed souls, you know. Spitting images of people. All the same. Can you imagine 100 lookalikes of one person? Now can you imagine 1,000 lookalikes of one person? And possibly could you imagine 1,000,000 lookalikes of one person? So at what point does the DNA pool run out? You know? At what point do the clones run out? It's unlimited. They could keep popping them out like a factory, you know? And people argue, well, if atheists want to live forever, they should just create a robot of themselves. Well, would we run out of resources? What do you make a robot out of? If it's not metal, of course metal is becoming too expensive. If it's not metal, then what do you make it out of? Plastic? What if all the plastic runs out? And even then, the material's too thin, it'll break. It won't last forever. So these atheists, they want to upload and download their brains or memory into these robots. Now, if the robots become too scarce and all our resources run out, then that's when they'll go towards human cloning. And all it takes is one country to legalize it to wreak havoc on the world. So, you know, it's very crazy stuff indeed, man. And they see like there's an infinite supply of human clones out there, you know, because there's no resources involved. The resources actually grow and multiply, which means it is an infinite supply of resources, unlike a finite supply like plastic for robots. What else do you make a robot out of? Definitely not wood. We're running out of trees to build the houses. So what else can you make a robot out of that is cheap, cost-effective, that is everywhere? You know, the first thing we look towards is plastic. But we are running out of plastic. We're running out of everything else. We're running out of everything else like we're running out of gasoline and oil. You know, that's why there's probably these wars are because of oil, you know. So the Saudis, you know, Saudi Arabia, they own us. We are their slaves. We are their puppets, man. And they're the ones pulling the strings. And we are forced to keep bowing down to the Saudi Arabians. We're forced to keep buying their oil, you know. And it just never stops. But eventually the oil is running out. So what will happen when all the oil runs out? Just like what will happen when all the plastic runs out. There won't be no resources to create these robots later on. So these atheists, they don't want to live as a robot. They say it's not the true form of existence as a human being is. So that's why they want to clone themselves. Now people say it's all science fiction, it's not possible, and it's millions of years from now. That's not true. You know, it is coming very soon. And I'm saying this, maybe with Trump's presidency, a lot of money is being put into corporations and companies now out of the result of the tax cuts for the rich. And maybe these rich companies are starting to invest and pump money into these forms of evil sciences. So we may have more mad scientists getting rich. I'm not saying necessarily of the Trump tax cuts, but the tax cuts for the rich, if the evil people start using it in their favor, then they could pump more money into these evil sciences like human cloning and make it happen faster. So do you see, under a Republican presidency, that human cloning can accelerate faster? Even though it's strange because a lot of Democrats may secretly be in cahoots to try to legalize human cloning underground, slide it through a bill. What they could have done with the Obamacare bill. You know, there's a lot of weird stuff that was in it. So, could they try to slide it through a Trump care bill? You know, a Trump healthcare bill. So, you know, it is very strange, man. And you know, it's all been in the works for so long. Human cloning has all been progressing underground for so long. Under everyone's noses, man. But now it's starting to bubble up. And once it finally erupts, it's going to be so big, man, that everyone, they're just going to keep talking about it non-stop. But for now, it seems there's a censor on it on mainstream TV news where no one is allowed to talk about human cloning. That's why you never hear the C word at all, you know. The C word. They avoid it like it's a cuss word, you know. So, it's very strange indeed, man. So, let's see. It's already too soon to start the EVPs. So, go ahead and keep talking about more about the topic of the day. I mean, it's hard to keep talking about human cloning. I already feel that I already talked a lot about it. For those that don't know, there's Rael. His real name, Claude Verhillon, was born in France. I believe it was 1940, sometime around there. And when he was he has a crazy biography. When he was like 15 or 16, he got in a fight with his parents and he ran away. Now, you're not supposed to leave the house at that age when you're too young. You're not supposed to run away, leave the house before you're 18. That's against the law. But supposedly, I'm not sure at that time in France it was against the law. I don't know, but he ran away. Then he started living like a gypsy hippie lifestyle. And then, I'm not sure what year, but when he was like, when he was in his mid-20s, he started singing, and he also worked at a race car magazine, like the Daytona 500 style. And there was like a sports magazine he worked at. So he was working there for a couple years. Then he said one afternoon at sunset, he went to go camp out at a volcano. He probably had a 6-pack of beer or something. And he was just chilling by himself, and he says he saw a flying saucer land down and 2 Asian aliens step out. And they were short, and they told him that human cloning is eternal life, and tell the whole world that human cloning is eternal life. You know? So for over like for over 50 years, he's been talking about human cloning for eternal life. He started a religion on it. He has bishops and churches around the world of this. You know? And his symbol is like a swastika. And he says the swastika is a Tibetan symbol of peace, love, and unity. And that Hitler twisted the symbol around, and how he wants to rehabilitate the symbol, bring it back into popular pop culture. You know? So, he's caught in flack. He's caught in flack because his followers, called the Raelians, are made up of people in the adult entertainment industry, and where they are too immoral, you know, and they say, well, since there's no God, there's nothing wrong with being immoral, you know. So that's kind of where I believe he goes a little bit wrong. He shouldn't have gone that route. You know, even meeting with the founder of Playboy magazine, Hugh Hefner, which Hugh Hefner recently died, I believe last year. Was it this year? You know, I believe it was last year. And, you know, Rael, you know, he's a very controversial person. His real name is Claver Hillon. And his friend, a girl named Bridget Boseler, she's a biochemist, and she has a company called Clonate, and they said they cloned the first human baby girl, and they named her Eve in 2003, but they never really offered up enough proof of it, because they said that they were fearing of being persecuted and being thrown in prison. So they said they cloned the first human, but the reason they didn't want to offer proof was because they didn't want to get thrown in prison. So it's crazy stuff, man. Did they really do it? I don't know. Maybe not. But the technology is like at the doorstep, man. It's like, it's there, you know. It could happen any minute, you know. So that's basically Rael's biography in a nutshell, you know. And very big story what happened today. So out of this, we're probably going to see the results of them creating artificial womb creators. Imagine a machine where you just put the embryo in, and the artificial womb, a little machine, starts growing the baby by itself. So what's this going to mean? It means women are not going to have to bear children anymore. They're not going to have to go through the 9-month process of carrying around the child for 9 months. Now a machine's going to do it. You know, they have a theory now where they can have cows grow humans. Can you believe it? I know it sounds funny, but this is true. Because cows carry a lot of human DNA. A lot of chromosomes and all that stuff. So they're saying if they find a way to have a cow's womb grow babies, that they'll have cows growing them for the meantime till they have the artificial womb creators. So this is coming next. First, we see the world's first artificial embryo. Now we're going to be seeing the world's first artificial womb creators soon. But this is a prediction here. They're going to start using cows to throw the babies in for now, you know. They're going to start using cows to grow the babies very soon, you know. And now people say that it's unethical and this and that. But the women will say that they have the right to do that they don't want to carry around the child for 9 months. And then they're also going to say, well, if it's the responsibility of the scientists, that they're supposed to have the science down to a T, that they're supposed to do everything right. So if the science, if the embryo, if the womb in the cow messes up, they said it's going to be the scientist's fault. So this is opening up new Pandora's box of doors here. The genie is out the bottle, man. Because you get this, the genie came out the bottle and opened the box of Pandora's. You know, and you know, it's just, you're seeing all these demons swirling around in science, man. You know, and you put 2 and 2 together, they create the world's first artificial embryo. Now they're going to have an infinite supply of embryos. This is big news. Before, embryos were only limited to a certain amount women have. Now with this, creating the artificial embryos, they're going to have an infinite supply, man. Which means they can keep testing at will. If more embryos mess up through cloning experimentations, they just abort it and do another one. And keep doing it over and over. Thousands here, thousands there. Who cares if 1 million embryos die here? Who cares if a trillion babies die here? You know? They just want to keep pumping it out. They just want to keep testing it. They want to keep experimenting. And now they're going to have an infinite supply of embryos. This is big stuff here. Now they have an infinite supply of embryos. That means they're going to be like, here. And it's just going to be non-stop, man. They're going to be like infinite supply of embryos, which means they'll be able to experiment with unlimited embryos left and right. This is very alarming stuff here, you know. And this is where the future's going, man. In about 200 to 500 years from now, everyone is going to be seeing monsters walking around everywhere, like Star Wars, you know. And it's going to be like, it's going to be the norm. Science, people are going to allow them into society, you know, and monster creatures will be flipping our burgers. Monster creatures will be driving transportation. Monster creatures will be the doctors and scientists themselves, you know. Monster creatures will be doing everything. They're going to be granted rights, you know. I mean, it's just insane what's going to happen later on in the future. And at what point does it get too much till Jesus returns? That's the magic question. At what point do so many clones get created once it's legalized till Jesus returns? Will he return before to prevent it? A lot of big things to think about. At what point, how many hybrids are going to be created till Jesus returns? So this is a question that I often ask Jesus and God is, at what point, you know, because I have inclinations that they're going to return before to prevent it, you know. So it's big stuff, man. And it seems we keep waiting for it, but it never happens, the hybrids and human cloning. But look at this here. Now they created the world's first artificial embryo. So it seems like it's never going to happen, but then at other times it seems like it's right at our doorsteps, man. So it is alarming stuff, truly is. Take no fear, because Jesus is returning to bring us out of this horrible realm. Amen. Hallelujah. So it's big stuff, man. So tell everyone you know they created the world's first artificial embryo. Tell everyone you know that they're going to start using cow wombs to start growing babies. I know it sounds like a joke, but it's true, and I'm going to put that as a title on the video. They're going to start using cow wombs to grow babies. You know, and I feel like Alex Jones here, you know, but it's true. It really is true, man. It is not a conspiracy. This is real, man. They're actually in the works to try to do all this. And they want to create artificial womb creators. You're going to be seeing not really cryogenic tanks, but you know those tanks left and right, growing babies left and right, man, in these tanks. You know, it's kind of like what's that called, test tubes and all, but this is different because test tubes, they just go more towards the process for infertility. It's not really cloning humans. That's the difference of test tubes. That's just for infertility. This right here is like growing human baby clones and little machines, you know. It's really coming down to this, man. The world's first artificial womb, the world's first artificial embryo, the fact that they're going to have a limited supply of embryos to do all the research now, is a clue that they're dabbling in and to start using cows to grow babies and start trying to create these artificial womb creators. And you know, the women, they're going to be like, oh, I'm so happy that that cow or machine's going to be growing my baby, and I don't have to carry the baby around for 9 months. So they can keep drinking and smoking, and they can keep being all crazy, you know, and they don't even care about the sanctity and what's it called, the naturalness. I don't know what that word is called. The sanctity of a natural human baby, you know. It's really becoming very Frankensteinish, man, you know. So now we'll go ahead and do a couple EVPs. So this is big stuff. So please tell everyone of the signs of the times that are happening here. This is a very big event that happened today. Unlimited supplies of embryos now. So now they're going to be firing up the cloning machines like crazy now. It's big stuff, man, I'm telling you. It is coming. Now we'll go ahead and get these EVPs started. Alright, here we go. This is big, I'm telling you. This is big. Okay, let's phone up the words. Oh my god, it's too many words. Okay, let's see here. You don't want to let family and friends afield company Ashely. Oh my god, man. What? You don't want family and friends to what? To accompany a field in Ashely? I don't know. Weird. Well, my family members are bickering, fighting with each other. And my friends, I have very few friends because a lot that turned fake and stopped hanging around all the drugs and stuff, so and it's so hard to meet new friends, man, so it is. The next EVP is moose, a moose. Lacerate. Sounds like lacerate, to cut. Amendment. That means like a law. Look, I'm seeing a sign. Lacerate amendment. Like a law against all these evil sciences, but yet they're still doing it anyways. It's big. Small thoughts in mind. Now what does that mean? Small thoughts in mind. I don't know. Lombardic. Sounds like lombardic. Let's see here. And serpent. So this could be saying of an amendment against lacerating. Small thoughts in mind, talking about the children, these babies being cloned, you know. Small thoughts in mind, you know. Very strange. Lombardic and serpent. Now serpent is the devil, you know. So this could be the small thoughts in mind could be talking about the babies being cloned. And the lacerate amendment about the cutting of the DNA and stuff. So this is big. Okay, next one. This is weird. This phone got the words, "I like your picture furniture." I have no idea what that means. And this phone got the words, toaster, Korean, and gnesio. Now the G is maybe silent. Gnesio. Toaster, Korean, gnesio. Maybe it's talking about a battery-powered, size C, battery-powered air conditioner that I ordered, coming from China. And it could be like China, Korea. And the toaster, instead of toaster, is an air conditioner. And gnesio maybe meant to say nice or something, so I think that's what it means. Strange. And we'll go and do a 2 set of them. This is weird. Concentrate this week to resolve the issues of finances and solely desire. I think it means juggling investing in YouTube with everything else, you know. So I don't know what that means. Very strange indeed. Okay, this phone got the words. Lessness, Lessness. Lessness. Sounds like maybe Loch Ness Monster. Cluster. Goblin. A cluster of goblins. Lessness, like Loch Ness Monster. Could this be a clue that we're going to see something in relation to the Loch Ness Monster being spotted? My theory is Loch Ness Monster could be an apparition, just like Bigfoot and all. So this is strange indeed. Man. So we'll go ahead and end it there. Please like, share, subscribe. Please tell everyone you know to like, share, and subscribe. And please tell everyone you know there's revelations coming out. They created the world's first artificial embryos. Now they're going to have an unlimited supply for them to be dabbling in and researching to create all these human clones and hybrids. This is big. And also how they want to start throwing embryos into cows and letting them grow babies. And the third one, that they're going to start creating artificial womb creators, so they won't have to use the cows anymore. So this is strange, man. We are entering uncharted territory here. It's like the saying goes, welcome to the brave new world. You know, we have to live with the evils of science. And not just evils. I don't call them just evils. I call them voodoo technology, man. Voodoo technology is at our doorstep. And before you know it, we're going to have monsters walking around everywhere. Monsters walking around everywhere. It's coming very soon, man. So we'll go ahead and end it there. Please tell everyone you know of what just happened today. The world's first artificial embryo means unlimited supply for them to tinker and dabble into the cult of voodoo technology. Witchcraft technology, man. This is big stuff indeed. I mean, as if throwing babies in cows wasn't bad enough. As if them creating artificial womb creators wasn't bad enough. Science is getting so disgusting and evil now. Science is getting so diabolical, sinister, demonic, you know. So we'll go ahead and end it there. Please tell everyone you know about what just happened today. Big stuff indeed. But remember, Jesus is returning. Hallelujah. Thy kingdom come. Yes, Lord. Hallelujah. God bless. Peace. Good night.